I'm Carl Andersen. I'm hitting my 24th year here in Teller County as a resident business owner, and I'd like to serve you as County Commissioner for District 2, which, Eric, you said District 2 is.
Oh yeah, I'm in District 3.
We're not running against each other, so you know. You know, you mentioned about being a single dad. Many people don't know, but when I got divorced from my wife, the mother of my two children, she didn't want custody. I had full custody of my kids when they were teenagers, and I want to say that is a tough job to have, so my hat's off. With that, I'd like to say, first off, we got to support our Republican candidates. I was to Senator Paisley's announcement for U.S. Senate, Michael Allen's announcement party, and it was funny at the beginning of Michael Allen's thing, he came over to me and he nudged me, he says, you know, this is partially your fault. and I said, I accept that responsibility, because I would, at any time of the day or whatever, I would just text him AG. And just leave it at that. Couple times I got a little nasty response, okay? I don't think his wife was too happy with that. But I'm just so proud to have him in that race, because we need a good Attorney General, regardless of how things go. We have the right Attorney General up there. He can stop a lot of the BS. So we need to support him. Then I'd like to talk a little bit about the Pinnacle situation. So about 2 months ago, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the regional director, reached out to me to hold an informative meeting with local business owners in Teller County, which we had in my office. Senator Paisley called in, we talked about upcoming legislative session, and we talked about this issue with Pinnacle. This is personal with Pinnacle with me. I've had Pinnacle Workers' Comp for almost 20 years now to cover, really to protect my business and my employees. And what the governor's office and the legislature is doing, which I believe it's now switching to a ballot measure, it's not going to be legislative. So, they're stealing, and I'm going to say that, they are stealing our $400 million. My premiums, part of my premiums for 20 years now, goes into that pot, gets set aside, that when there's catastrophic incidents, they have the money to protect our working class people, my employees, being one of them. So I am not happy with them stealing my money. They are not just hurting the businesses, but they are weakening the protection of the Colorado workforce. This is bad. This is way beyond bad. And I'm sorry that they're using, that they need this for veterans. That's BS. Okay? So we need to strongly oppose the privatization of Pinnacle. As much as I hate government agencies in general, there's a place for them. And this had a place. And this was doing a good job serving the workers of Colorado. And now because the governor has mismanaged the funds so badly, he needs to steal that money from Pinnacle. So oppose that. And that brings me to today's event. I was invited to that. The Alliance reached out to me, called me, invited me to go to that. Fortunately, I had a prior commitment, which I'll talk about in a minute. But when I got the call, and I actually called Dan and asked a couple of questions about this, of what was going on, where the money was coming from, where it was going, and I already knew the issues with the Bring the Peak and what it's bringing to Teller County. But I have an issue with Governor Polis taking $2.5 million from one pot, sticking it in another to hire a couple of people while there's a hiring freeze in the state of Colorado, to create a positive legacy as he departs. He does not deserve a positive legacy. He deserves to burn in $1 billion plus sinking ship. And we can't let him get away with taking our money and putting it someplace to look good for him exiting. Okay? not want my picture with that governor to be out there. And I don't support it. And I don't support what he's done to our state. He took departments like the Department of Labor. Senator Baisley and I years ago worked when COVID was happening and everybody was getting unemployment. Before COVID, I think the Department of Labor had $1 billion surplus on hand to cover employees in Colorado. They spent that entire $1 billion. They're now in the hole, been in the hole ever since. And what they do, they raise the rates on businesses to cover the abuse that they did during COVID.
Excuse me, Carl, 1 second. That's interesting because my funeral director's license used to be $395. Now it's $3,700.
Thank you for contributing.
It's $2 billion.
$2 billion, yep. So this governor does not deserve a positive legacy any way, shape, or form, and I won't support that. So Pinnacle, that's one issue. You know, I left it, there's a list in the back there of major meetings and events that I've attended in the last 30 days. Please pick it up, take a look at it. I'm at all the commissioner meetings. I'm talking with our legislators on a regular basis about this upcoming session. Kurt and I, the assessor, has talked about the legislation that's coming forth that's going to cost us more money on our property taxes and the splitting of our properties. I do not agree with that. You know, they are, I had a meeting with someone today, and they said to us, it was obvious they were at a meeting with high-level officials in the state, and it was obvious that they're attacking the rural Colorado to eliminate it. They want to push people into apartments, they want to push people out of their ranches, and we're not going to stand for it here in Teller County. So that's one of the issues, major issues that we're dealing with and that I'm helping to deal with. The other thing coming down the pipeline, and I testified the other day at the county commissioners meeting, is homeowners insurance. And so what homeowners insurance companies are doing now, in their fine print of exclusions in your policy, they're stating that you will not be covered for wildfire. So if your house is lost in a wildfire, you do not have insurance. Last week I've been collecting quotes for my own home, and my agent came back to me. He had a couple of different quotes. He said, I have some great deals for you, but before you sign on the dotted line, 2 of these companies are excluding coverage for wildfires. Thank God my agent took the time to read the fine print of these policies. So that happened. Little before that, I got contacted by the Braver Angels group, and they work with both the Democrat Party and the Republican Party here in Teller County. Sunday afternoon, I was at a work session with them to put together a couple of meetings coming up, and as Dan alluded to, the insurance commissioner is going to be at one of those meetings. So we're going to ask him some really tough questions. Should be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy that. But we're going to hold public meeting for homeowners insurance and give people things to look for, what to look out for. My insurance agent, which I invited to this group, is going to help out with that to give good information for Teller County residents, because this is a nightmare what we got coming down. Just think about it. If you just automatically renew your policy and you sign for whatever changes and you don't check, and the big major things are there, your deductible's good, you got $1 million for your home, or you got $1 million for accidents, blah, 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 but you don't read the fine print that says you're now excluded from wildfire. And just think about how dry we've been. Yeah, we had a nice little snowstorm on Friday, but there's no snow in the forecast for the next 2 weeks, and we're probably less than 90 days from seeing our next wildfire season hit and hit hard. Make sure you're covered. and we're gonna help you do that. So the Braver Angels, I'm actually meeting tomorrow morning with Holly Sample, who is running the Braver Angels group for Teller County now. Her and I are meeting in the morning. Pat Hill's coming. We're gonna do an article to kind of get it out there in the newspaper to let people know what's going on, so we can help protect Teller County residents. So, lots of stuff going on. This is gonna be a critical legislative session. Governor Polis, you know, he wants to look good, but he's got an agenda of dirty deeds he wants to get done before he leaves. And the only way we can slow the bleeding down, help stop it, is to get involved and testify up and down. We gotta get together. We gotta stand up for ourselves, and we gotta push, we literally gotta push the envelope wide open. We gotta speak up there until they tell us to go away, waste as much of their time as possible, because fortunately they have a limited amount of time they get to legislate. Well, let's argue with them. Let's make it more difficult for them to pass a single damn thing. Make it challenging. Don't hand our state over on a silver platter. Stand up for it. So, lots and lots going on here locally. You know, you look at our road and bridge, you look at the plowing here, they didn't have to, you know, they plowed last week, but they did a great job. They got great staff, they're doing a good job. The assessor's office doing a good job. You know, Stephanie, with the election coming up, thank you for, you know, keeping everybody informed. We put out some information on caucus and assembly too. We did an email, public post, like Kelly said, so be aware, you know, there's sign up petitions going around for city council, but it's also possible to get on the ballot for county offices by petition process also. I'm gonna run through county assembly, caucus and assembly, because I want everybody's input into my race and my run. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I want to, just like you said, I am a strong believer in term limits. Politicians are not supposed to be a career. Okay? You do your job, you go to the government, you work for a while, you serve the people, then you go back to the farm. That's the way the founding fathers wanted it. And I believe that should be the case today. Check into your candidates. Not everybody believes in term limits. I do. And I will uphold that for you, the people of Teller County. So with that, if anybody has any questions for me, be happy to take them.
It's about service.
It's about service. It's about getting things done, being involved. Service, yes.
Do you have any plans for training sessions for speaking at the Capitol, or carpools or anything like that that you put together?
You know, so a couple of years ago, Day at the Capitol actually came about from myself and other representatives discussing how they could be supported. And we started that at that time, probably about 40 years ago that we started that program. And it has helped. And yes, once things get rolling, I'll get with Senator Beasley and say, hey, when do you need us there? When's going to be a good time? I also did a couple of calls with Ava Filonel and Carlos Barone, talking to them about upcoming legislation. I'm going to help them with a couple of things to help stop the bleeding. You know? And so yes, if we need to carpool, let's get together. And if we need to have a training session, we can do something at my office. One of the meetings I was at today was a City of Woodland Park Board of Review for their building department. Pikes Peak Regional Building Department was there, one of their representatives. First off, I'd like to say I want a variance with them for one of my clients, get to follow the engineer's plans, not the regional building departments. So that was a nice victory. Saved this homeowner about $10,000 with this variance. So I'm very glad that happened. We do have code cycles coming into play this coming year. energy code that has to be upgraded, that's could be very expensive for building in the future. But the other one we talked about today was EV readiness for your home. And Pikes Peak Regional is pushing to adopt this year. And it's everything from every home being ready for an electric car. And not so do you have to have the outlet for the electric car in your garage, but you have to have a specific space set aside in your garage for an EV car. Yeah, but it goes further. Then there's additional wiring that has to be done for solar panels. You need to have a section of your roof that is clear of any penetrations, so that if some point you have to install solar panels on your roof, it can be done. And of course, it has to face, south, southwest, blah, 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 but extra expenses to a home. So I brought up the question, the chairman of the board made the mistake of asking if there was public comment. I have comments. So I said to the director from Pikes Peak Regional Building Board, I said, sir, I'm going to tell you, I have solar panels on my home, I have on my RV, I have them on my big truck. I like solar panels in general, but they don't supply enough energy to power much, okay? I said, let's think about this wiring that we were doing for future use. The technology in the EV world is changing daily. You guys are requiring wiring that was developed 10 years ago or more and telling us we have to install it now to be used in the future when the technology is going to change. So we're going to spend money on wiring, prepping areas that most likely will never be used because it'll be outdated. How stupid is this? But that's legislators up there in Denver that don't have a clue how things work, making rules, making mandates, coming up with laws that are just going to cost money and not serve anybody well. So, when we're ready to go up there, I'll let you know, because I'd love to have you on my side to fight this craziness.
Anybody else have questions for Carl?
If I have a remark to make, this reminds me of an article I read about Karl Marx, socialist, and he admitted, my ideas look good in the paper, but in real life it doesn't work. It seems like they are the same thing. They just come with some ideas, they don't even think how to further than that. Oh, it looks so good in the paper, but how it's going to implement in the actual real life with all this population.
Yeah. Yep. You're absolutely right. Carl?
Yes, actually 2 points. First off, the Z people that want all this special wiring for the electrical vehicles and stuff, have they figured out what to do with the batteries after they're expended in the vehicle? Because you can't recycle them.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's a solid plan for that yet, I heard it burned real good, but,
I know it still requires that when you're building a home electrically, you have to have the outlets for the telephones. And I remember a couple, and the TVs.
Yep.
You still have to have those outlets, and that's 20 years old technology that is not used.
Right. Nope, you're exactly right. And they're going down that same rabbit hole.
So that sounds to me like they're picking winners and losers instead of letting the marketplace do it.
Exactly, sir. Very good. Yes, sir.
Are you seeing any impact from Colorado Clean Commission's plan to phase out natural gas in homes and eliminate stoves by 2035? Do you know much about that?
Yes, it's devastating. I mean, the God's honest truth is, it's a destruction. It's really a personal vendetta of Governor Flores against the natural gas industry. It has nothing to do with efficiency, running a home or nothing. He just hates these gas companies. And the truth of the matter is, if you look, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, they listed 3 of the natural gas companies that he wants to put out of business. And one of them services here in Southern California. So it's devastating to the marketplace, it's devastating to homes. Just right down the road here, I'm helping to restore the original depot, for the Midland Railroad. And we've been working on this project for probably 15 years, and it's going in phases, being done by grants. Sunday afternoon, I had another meeting with the Newcastle Historical Society and Midland Railroad people. For years, we've been trying to get, and I'm gonna say Black Hills Energy, to run gas to that building, and they've refused to run it because they know what's gonna happen. They're not gonna be able to supply it into the future. So, on Sunday, my recommendation was that we abandon the option of natural gas and we get propane to the building so we can heat the building with the propane, because it would be very difficult to heat it with electric, being a 120-year-old building.
Anything else?
Mr. Anderson, I'm probably the largest user of natural gas in the county. And you're saying you want to put these people out of business so they can't service you. That doesn't make any sense. And then what do we do? Just, I need the fuel, and you can't do it with propane, and you can't do it with electric.
And this is where, thank God, there are term limits for the governor's office, and he'll be out. And hopefully the next governor, hopefully it's Sheriff Mitchell, Jason Mitchell, and he can crush all these stupid ideas that he's pushed for the last 7 years. So, you're right on, we need to support our Republican candidates, and hopefully you can keep using natural gas. I don't want to see you for a long time.
Yeah. But again, it's just confusing to me. How does the governor say, I want Andersen Enterprises out of business, or Mountain Employee, or where do you get the authority to?
Well, so he's playing the game, and he's picking winners and losers, and, so, my wife and I have a homestead, her family homestead in 1925, north of Craig, Colorado, Moffett County. About 10 years ago, natural gas company was gonna come through, and they wanted to run a pipeline through our property, from that area, which we have a natural gas, well, on our property. And, they wanted to run this bigger line down to service the front range. Polis got into office, he shut down that pipeline, so there would be no more pipeline. He's proposing building another power plant, most likely a nuclear one, somewhere up in the northwest, possibly into Wyoming. And they're already started building the electric transmission lines for a power plant from nowhere. And they've been actually housing people up there, upgrading the electric lines, so that they can electrify Colorado with a plant that doesn't exist.
And the state is funding that?
I have no idea who's actually funding it, but I know it's a big issue up there in Moffett County, northwest Colorado.
Okay, you guys, we're gonna end up.
Thank you. Yep.
Talk about